What is the Mount Rushmore of WWE WrestleMania opening matches? That's right, Nick, Steve, and myself, we're in the hot seat, and we're going to give our top 4 selections of WrestleMania openers in history. There are 40 WrestleManias. Some WrestleManias have 2 nights as well to work with. So without further ado, Nick, Steve, let's dive in with your first selection.
My first one is going to purely be on the more recency bias. A lot of these are a lot older. It's WrestleMania 40. It is Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Dude, just a quality opening match. Has everything. Drew tweeting randomly halfway through the match because that's what Drew does. We get the interaction with Punk afterwards. We get the cash in. We get the moment. It's just such a great match, and it's just a great memory, man. And it's my most recency bias because I do love it, man. I think it's up there for me.
It's a fantastic match, and it actually's got a lot of finishers involved in it as well. A lot of near fall attempts. There's a lot of moments where you think the match has to finish here, and you go 1, 2. You're like, oh no, it's not happened. So it's a great match. I really enjoy actually going back WrestleMania 40, especially that night too. It's almost a perfection card from top to bottom. It's brilliant. But for me, it's not in my Mount Rushmore. It's going to be an honorary mention for me. So yeah, I like that. We're different off the bat. So I'll go on my first selection for you. And probably not a surprise to yourself for this one, maybe to viewers of the channel long term either. We're going to go back to WrestleMania 10, 2 brothers opening the show. It is one of the best matches that I can recall in history, let alone as an opener. It is Bret the Hitman Hart versus Owen Hart. Of course, 2 brothers that had fallen out over the Survivor Series weekend. Owen wanted to have a match with Bret. Bret wouldn't do it. Of course, then they reunited in time for the Royal Rumble 94. Owen would turn on Bret, and that actually led us to where we got our match at WrestleMania 10. Of course, Bret had to do that as well to have a second match on the show as he'd go on to go for the world title later in the main event. These two, just a technical masterclass. That's pretty much the gist of it. It's like a 5-star match. It's perfection. And to be fair, when the name Hart is in the name, you know that wrestling is the name of the game. You know they're going to be amazing with what they do. And yeah, I mean, as well, shockingly, when you look at watching it for the first time, and spoilers if you've not seen it, Owen picks up the victory. I mean, with a fantastic victory roll as well to get the job done. It's not what I would have expected when I was watching as a child. And I still have fond memories watching that match to this day.
Dude, it's actually on my Mount Rushmore. I'm up there with you. This is arguably the greatest opening match of WrestleMania ever. Like you said, you've pretty much nailed it all on the head. I think this is fantastic in terms of everything, storytelling, ring work, just everything. It bleeds excellence. It's just so good. It is my number 2 on my Mount Rushmore of WrestleMania opening matches.
It's a technical masterclass. That's literally what it is. But I'll tell you what, my second choice for you, I think this is going to be on yours as well. This might be one of the shorter episodes of Mount Rushmore. I arguably will say this is possibly one of the most underrated match openers in wrestling history, let alone WrestleMania history. WrestleMania 34, the Intercontinental Championship match between Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz. Literally triple threat match. Sometimes with WWE, the formula is simply just 2 guys in the ring a lot of the time. But these 3 have great interactions, great mixtures, and obviously it starts the road as well to Seth Rollins being the IC champion when he's literally defending that thing every single week. But you have fond memories of this match as well, don't you?
Dude, for me, this was the match of WrestleMania 34. Like, when you start a show off that good, you get your hopes up that you think the rest of the card is going to be as fantastic as this match. For me, it was match of the night, and it was the first match. The show kind of goes a bit up and down, and then goes very down towards the end, because if you compare it with what was on the rest of that card, I believe Asuka loses to Charlotte when Asuka's coming off her undefeated streak, coming up from NXT. Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey's best match in WWE period for me, but obviously still doesn't beat that opening match. Taker versus Cena, sure, great storytelling, but in terms of in-ring, not the best. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon beating KO and Sammy, Nia Jax winning the world title for the first time. It's a moment for her, but again, the match is kind of lackluster. And then just to add on to it, obviously, the main event, Brock Lesnar beating Roman Reigns. Shinsuke the AJ Shinsuke match that we was all expecting to get, the Wrestle Kingdom match that we never got. We get the heel turn, kind of saves it, but the match under delivers. And then possibly the worst match in WrestleMania history, Braun Strowman and Nicholas defeat the Bar and win them Raw Tag Team titles. I think that is the worst match ever.
See, you've set a watch along for us for later in this WrestleMania season.
Don't.
Just for a moment there, but yeah,
it's about 20 minutes of Braun finding Nicholas.
It is a lot of the time, yeah. It's quite a painful segment, to be fair. But yeah, the fast-paced action that you have from Finn Balor and stuff. I mean, you mentioned Seth Rollins, you mentioned Finn Balor. You know it's going to be great. And the Miz is actually in quite a hot streak in this period as well. Obviously, he continued to have a great match with Seth Rollins the following month at Backlash as well. So it's just a match definitely worth going to check out. I would suggest definitely. It's on your list,
it's my number 3. So you've already saved me the next. So I'm going straight on to number 4. WrestleMania 30. Triple H versus Daniel Bryan, the underdog story that Daniel Bryan goes through that year, that video package with Imagine Dragons playing Monster over the top of it, everything he goes through, the fact he has to win this to get into the main event, it goes on to win it, and it all starts with this opening match. And it's, like I said, it's one of the best underdog stories I think WWE has ever told, and it starts with Triple H versus Daniel Bryan in the first match. So for me, that's my 4th match on my Mount Rushmore.
It's on mine as well, so it's match 3 for me. It's a fantastic match. Daniel Bryan. Does Daniel Bryan have a bad match in his repertoire? I'm not sure. Triple H still can go at this point as well. And these two, they really had good chemistry in ring together. It worked really, really nicely. It's quite a lengthy opening match as well, but it doesn't overstay its welcome despite that. And like you said, just the story in itself. And look, the thing is, everyone thinks, we're going to get what we want. We want Daniel Bryan in the main event. It surely felt we were going to get that. But obviously, the winner of that match got to the main event. And you look at it, would be a triple threat match. And the other 2 people involved were Batista and Randy Orton. There was no idea of doing an Evolution triple threat match there. Don't tell me there wasn't 1% people that couldn't have happened. Yeah. But I mean, Daniel Bryan, we got what we wanted. Daniel Bryan got through to the main event, and of course, yes, then he went and completed the mission as well and would go on to win the title. It's one of the greatest WrestleMania stories of all time, and yeah, it's a fantastic opening match, and I agree, it certainly has its place on the Mount Rushmore. Well, moving on then to match 4 for me, and I'm no surprises this will not be on your list. I don't think this will be on everybody's list, to be perfectly honest, because this one,
I'm going to guess. Is it Money in the Bank?
No.
Oh, no, okay.
That's a bloody good one. Are you talking WrestleMania 23 by any chance? Or WrestleMania? I'm not sure. 24 is the Belfast Brawl. I believe that kicks off. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Well, no, for me, I'm going to say it's actually a bit nostalgic for me. It's actually a bit personal because do you know why? It's my first ever wrestling match. We're going all the way back to WrestleMania 8. Tito Santana, El Matador, against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry, but Tito Santana... I love it when you do this. Tito Santana was a great wrestler back in the day, back in the 80s. He had kind of probably peaked in his WWE booking when he got to the early 90s. He didn't stay around in the company a lot longer at that point, but he still was good at putting other talent over. And Shawn Michaels had just broken away from the Rockers. He obviously put Marty through the screen of the barbershop. He would go on to have the singles run. And I believe they were supposed to have the match Shawn versus Marty at WrestleMania. That didn't happen for whatever reason, but Tito Santana took the place. And I just remember watching it thinking this was like a good sort of technical little match they had. It's not a 5-star classic, but for me, I watched it and I just was in awe of watching these guys sort of being able to fly around the ring, do the moves that they did. And yes, Shawn Michaels cheated to win, but at the same time, I do look at it and thought myself at that point, I was engaged enough to continue watching. I moved on to The Undertaker versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Carried through that, and then I went on to Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper, arguably the match of WrestleMania 8, although you could even argue the match that followed that was there with Randy Savage and Ric Flair. Pretty much my story of wrestling started there, and it all started because of Tito Santana versus Shawn Michaels. And so that opener of WrestleMania 8 for me would be criminal to not be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't particularly have the greatest memories of it. I probably don't even remember it. It's just one of them ones, but I love it when you do this because you pull out these matches for some sort of nostalgic reason. We had Diesel was the greatest surprise entrant ever in the Royal Rumble Mount Rushmore entrance, so I was expecting something, but dude, I appreciate it, I respect it, and dude, it's the reason why you've been watching wrestling for 30 plus years.
And there you go. So for me, it has to be in there for that particular reason. Is there any honorary mentions for yourself?
Only two. I've got the Intercontinental ladder match from WrestleMania 31. I think it's just they're both ladder matches. The other one is obviously Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 23, and actually the other one is, I think, is a WrestleMania there's another one in there somewhere. They're all ladder matches. They're ladder matches. They're fun. They're chaotic. They're missing the story element, but they're just hot ways to open a show. So yeah, any multi-man ladder match that's ever opened to WrestleMania, just insert name here.
Zack Ryder, WrestleMania 32.
Yep, yeah, winning the IC title. Yep, again, all just again for that's more for the Zack Ryder winning thing, but again, just fun multi-man matches, great hot ways to start the biggest show of the year.
Certainly is indeed. It's a great way to do it. But yeah, I think we've gone through the Mount Rushmore then of opening matches of WrestleMania. So the question is, did we miss out your favorite? Was your one not featured? Maybe it's time to let us know now. I mean, for example, one that I actually think deserves a Mount Rushmore mention, honorary mention, just before we close off, WrestleMania 21, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. Always two guys with great chemistry in ring. Sadly turned out to be Eddie Guerrero's last WrestleMania as well, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, those two had a fantastic match as well, with Rey picking up the victory, and that would lead on to the story of the custody of Dominic Mysterio in the summer of 2005. So yeah, some great memories from that story with those two. But it's time now for you to get involved in the comments below. Let us know your picks of your Mount Rushmore of the best WrestleMania opening matches. And of course, if you want to check out more of this series, then check out the side of your screen right now. The playlist is there. We'll be back with another one in this series, and we're going to do the reverse WrestleMania main event matches. So keep an eye out for that on the channel coming soon. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. Hit the like button, share and subscribe. We'll see you for the next one.